How's it going, everyone? We've got quite a lot of PlayStation news to go over in this video. An unfortunate note on one of the long-running PlayStation franchises that hasn't gotten a lot of support recently. It kinda got support a few years ago, the mascot of the franchise, but we'll talk all about it. It's a franchise that I grew up playing in my teenage years. I remember when Little Big Planet 1 came out back in 2008, and it shocked a lot of people on how good it was. We'll talk about the unfortunate news around Little Big Planet 3. Bit of an update on Stellar Blade. It's been getting these quick trailers, which I think is perfect to do. I think leading up to this release, this final week ahead of the reviews coming out, just put out little bite-sized trailers, get one final push going. Again, when I talk about promotion and handling games, I look at a Stellar Blade and I'm like, this game has just been handled flawlessly. So yes, while I crap on games like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown for its promotion, and most recently, yesterday, we were talking about Tales of Kinzara Zhao, where I think the promotion of those games were just handled pretty poorly, I'll give credit where credit is due, and Stellar Blade's certainly a bigger game than those aforementioned games, but the promotion of this game has been fantastic, and we'll talk about that. Alright, right off the top, unfortunately, Little Big Planet 3. They noted this on the official PlayStation website. Now, LBP 3 is a cross-gen game. It's available on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Due to ongoing technical issues which resulted in Little Big Planet 3 servers for PlayStation 4 being taken offline temporarily in January of 2024, the decision has been made to keep the servers offline indefinitely. All online services, including access to other players' creations for Little Big Planet 3, are no longer available. User-generated content, UGC, stored locally on your PS4 will remain available. Any new UGC you create can be played on your PlayStation 4 but not shared. Offline features such as campaign will remain playable. So this isn't an instance like The Crew. Little Big Planet 3 does have an offline component, so you can play the game no problem, but apparently the issue was there were a lot of nefarious users, so to speak, doing some stuff with the LBP3 online servers, and unfortunately they had to shut the game down. Just to go on a little bit of a tangent on Little Big Planet, I really thought that LBP, when it released back in 2008, it was gonna spin into one of the biggest franchises on PlayStation, because much different to a lot of PlayStation IPs, even if you compare it to, like, Ratchet and Clank and Jak 2. Like, Ratchet and Clank, Jak 2, those franchises do have, like, guns and whatnot, but LBP was a game that I felt like was super accessible and just a charming mascot to have for a super young audience, where if you're a father and you're getting your young kid a PlayStation and you're looking at games to get them, LBP was a franchise that really stood out. Sackboy was a promotable mascot in terms of, creating stuffed animals and all that nonsense, which I know that they like to do. I mean, Nintendo does a great job of monetizing their mascots, to say the least, and, putting out stuffed animals and all this stuff that they can sell and make a gigantic amount of money on. I really thought LBP was gonna be that for PlayStation. You got LBP, received incredibly well, then you got LBP 2, that game was received incredibly well, and then LBP 3, I believe, was done mostly by Sumo Digital, and that wasn't received as strongly, but I still thought it was a fairly good game. And then the franchise kind of went to the wayside. Obviously, Media Molecule was working on Dreams, and that game kind of turned out to be a flop, even though that's a game that I talk up quite often. And, Little Big Planet went to the wayside until, I guess you could look at Sackboy: A Big Adventure, but that wasn't an LBP game. That was more of just a standalone release that used Sackboy as a mascot, and I still feel like there's potential to utilize Sackboy as a mascot, but certainly the peak of LBP 1 and LBP 2 even will not be replicated. And LBP 1 was interesting because it came out in the fall of 2008, and that was really prior to the PlayStation 3 getting going. The PlayStation 3 didn't get going until 2009 after the Slim came out, so even when you look at it, LBP was a franchise that kicked off at the heyday of the PS3, where the PS3, let's be honest, like, back in the day, like, those early days on the PS3, they were looking pretty dicey with the Xbox 360 just being a cheaper console until the Slim came out, and then the narrative started to shift. But 2008, 2007, that's where the foundation started to get laid with, them establishing some big IPs like a Resistance, like an Uncharted, like a Little Big Planet, that would ultimately pay dividends by the end of the PS3 generation, where people were like, holy crap, the PS3 has this bevy of high-quality exclusives, and then that parlayed onto the PlayStation 4, and now Sony First Party is revered for their high-quality games. But to me, and maybe this is because I grew up with the PlayStation 3, you know, teenage years where I was playing a lot of games at that point, so I really got to digest all of those high-quality titles. But for me, First Party really got going with the early PS3 days, with Uncharted 1, Resistance, even though that was Insomniac and they were second-party, Insomniac ultimately came into the fold, but LBP as well. And there were so many high-quality games and exclusives that came out around that time. But nevertheless, back to the original point, Little Big Planet 3 servers, unfortunately, will be kept offline. But if you do own the game, you can still play the offline components, no problem. And a little bit of a bummer. And ultimately, an IP that I feel like didn't see the success that I would have anticipated 15 years ago. But what can you do? Right now, I believe Media Molecule is working on something entirely different from Dreams. And Sumo Digital, obviously, they've been doing some stuff as well. Moving on from that, Stellar Blade has gotten a new trailer, the beta skills trailer, a super quick 40-second trailer, and really, if you're talking about the content in the game, it's like a 25-second clip, but it showcases some of the abilities Eve has in her disposal. In Stellar Blade, beta energy is charged by attacking enemies with beta energy. You can use beta skills, and these are acquired and upgraded from the skill tree, so it showcases some of those abilities. Man, this game looks incredibly flashy, and this is an easy kind of game that, you know, I talk about promotional material and promoting a game correctly. Stellar Blade is a very easy game to promote when you're talking about this style of gameplay. Prince of Persia, Tales of Kenzera, obviously being Metroidvanias, I guess you could make the argument that, hey, you're talking about Stellar Blade, this is a super fast-paced, over-the-top action game. Of course it's easy to promote. Well, I'm certain you could figure out other ways to promote the aforementioned games. But again, Stellar Blade, I just have to give this game credit. Outside of this just being a PlayStation exclusive and a game that genuinely looks really good, if you really go back to that January state of play, this 3-month stretch where the promotion has went into overdrive for this game, they've just hit home run after home run, from the initial release date reveal with the trailer that was attached to it, with the sound and music that was picked with that trailer. Perfect. And I bring up music because I feel like with Lost Crown, that was a huge issue. Then they rolled out a demo, and then they've consistently been putting out these other videos. Like, this is how a game is supposed to be promoted. This is how a game is supposed to be marketed, and they're not doing anything that is that crazy. They put out a demo, which this is the kind of game where a demo is very, very wise to do. Like with FF7 Rebirth, great. They put out a demo. I'm happy they put out a demo because, you know, having a demo is better than not having a demo. But a lot of people that I talked to were just like, yo, I already know if I'm gonna buy this game or not. We already played the 7 remake. We beat that game. You need to beat that game to play that game. A demo isn't really necessary. Stellar Blade, you have a character like Eve in a new IP being promoted around the PlayStation dashboard and then being like, hey, free demo available right now. At the very least, people are going to give it a chance, and you see the numbers that the demo has apparently pulled. Boom, slam dunk. That's when a demo becomes so effective, and with Stellar Blade, it's become exactly that. So again, enough gushing about it, but I just feel like from a promotional standpoint, this game has just been handled so well. We'll see how the game ultimately turns out. It's out April the 26th. The 23rd, I believe, is when the reviews are gonna go live, so I'm sure it'll sit in the high 70s or 80s on Metacritic, and, you know, I do wonder, from a reviewer standpoint, is there gonna be people that are gonna, like, dock the game points because of... You guys already know why. You guys already know why, which I think is gonna be wild, and I hope that doesn't happen, but, you know, I don't put anything past people these days. You know, I could see some wild stuff happening, but I foresee there also being some crazy takes when this game actually comes out and it's more at the forefront. Like, there's already been some crazy takes, and I still think it's very much a vocal minority, like, with the crazy takes. But, yeah, like, let it be known that I do think it's gonna get... I do think there's gonna be some nonsensical stuff being said come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But we'll see. Maybe everybody will just be calm and people will enjoy the game, and there won't be a lot of pushback. There won't be like, we need to stop this franchise from popping off. because that would be, at that point, that would be kind of comical if that happens when the game drops. But that is gonna do it for me. Again, unfortunate news about Little Big Planet 3, and I wanted to talk about it because LPP is really one of those franchises that I thought was gonna be a lot bigger than it ultimately became. But still worthwhile to go back and play LBP 3. Obviously, LBP 1 and 2, PS3 games, we don't got backwards compatibility because Sony's whack. But, you know, what can you do? And Stellar Blade gets a brand new trailer, the beta skills trailer. Go check that out. It's very brief. But why not get more hype for that game? That'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.